when people come into an open house and they start talking about, well, rates are high, I always have an answer. I'm not trying to go against them, but I make people think. I become memorable in a way. You know, the Rocket name works, but I have something different to say. You're not going to get a Chat GPT answer from me on a question. And I think that's very important to see things from a different perspective.
Welcome to the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We're sitting down with real estate pros, insurance nerds, mortgage masterminds, and local legends who are making moves on the Space Coast. Hosted by the best insurance crew in the 321. At Studio 321, it's all about community, real connections, and sharing a few laughs along the way. Strap in, let's launch into today's episode. Today on the podcast, we're sitting down with Crockett the Rocket, a realtor with eXp Realty and one of the most driven agents on the Space Coast.
Gene the Machine.
With 8.5 years in real estate, a 19-year background as a stockbroker, and service in the Army Reserves, Crockett brings a rare mix of discipline, strategy, and hustle to everything he does. He's been recognized as Rookie of the Year for RE/MAX South Region, named HomeLight's top negotiator in Brevard County, earned multiple Icon Awards at eXp Realty, and consistently ranks among Space Coast top agents. Originally from Queens, New York, and now a proud Space Coast resident for over a decade. Today, we're diving into his journey, mindset, and what hard work really looks like in action. What's up, man?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Queens,
sir.
New York. Woo.
You know, you're the first person in the last two mails we've had on that didn't leave me hanging, so I really appreciate that.
I would never do that. Never.
We always give Nux, dude, and sometimes throws people off. They're like,
Well, he gets it right away, like you get like a handshake or a nod or something, and I'm over here like this, and the camera sees it, and it's really
I
uncomfortable.
know, and I honestly
Very
feel bad
uncomfortable.
for you.
Oh, thank you. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, it looks sad. Anyways,
Every time I see you now, you get fist bumps every time.
your priority.
so what's up, man? Thank you for coming in today, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you for
it's
having
awesome.
me.
Yeah, man, you've been on the list for a while. I was definitely somebody that I wanted to have in.
I've been in the crosshairs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And so I've been watching from afar for years and have been really impressed with how you've grown your business. And you just bring like a different level of like grit and determination, I think, to your business that is like super recognizable. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a no fear, like you're just diving in, you know what I mean? And doing it. One of the things I wanted to, before we get rolling, we'll get into more of your story and everything. But before we get rolling, one of the things that like really had you on my radar was, especially recently, like you've been doing more and more social media stuff and putting yourself out there on social media. And I'm loving the new Sora videos you're doing.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with
Oh, the
that.
AI.
Of
You're
course
getting
you
into AI.
are.
I love that. I got to see those. I haven't seen them yet.
Seen them yet.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. And I mean, and what's funny is like I was, you know, social media, I've said it on here, man, social media scares shit out of me. Like I'm not a big social media guy, but the Sora stuff we've been messing with, and we've been putting out like a video every week or something. But then I was like, as I was starting to kind of dabble in it, you were just hitting it, man. Like every day I was like, dude, he's really
looked
getting
up
after
to
it.
you.
And I loved it because it's like right on your brand, Crockett the Rocket and all that stuff. It was super cool.
And it's been cool too because, you know, you can only make so many videos with the rocket, like boosters. But what I've been able to do is kind of put my story in it. So the most recent one I did was me leaning my head on the Wall Street Bull.
Yeah.
Basically trying to show the crash that happened. And basically what I was saying there is that period and then even prior crashes, because you had the dot-com boom and then bust. And then you had the stock market crash. And then the next moment you see like, you know, me going up into the sky on my rocket boosters and landing in the Space Coast.
Yeah.
And
is
I
awesome,
didn't give
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Because basically
Yeah.
I've been through multiple crashes, and I said the biggest crash was my crash.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I was burning, but I didn't get into a fetal position. I got strong from it. Didn't really realize at first, you know, because I'll be frank, at the end of being a stockbroker, I kind of felt like I was a has-been, right? All this hard work and I'm back to square one. But fast forward now, and I'm like, that was just a journey. Stockbroker wasn't going to be your career. Realtor was going to be your career. And you got the school of hard knocks, something that you can never get taught in a classroom.
No, absolutely.
that
I
was
mean, there's
great.
I could be wrong. There's a little bit of Queens, New York mentality behind all that, right?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. It's being around three sisters,
Oh,
having the shovel in the winter when people complain about the snow. That was time to make some money.
Yeah.
You know, for me.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome,
That's
man.
the lunch pail mentality.
No, but I love what you're doing with it, and it's like a new, fresh kind of idea to like keep yourself relevant. And I just love how you're like, again, like no fear. You just
creative.
dived in and did it. You know what I mean? And started putting it out. Are you working on those on your own, or do you have somebody helping you with them?
every single one has been on my own. My friend did help me with a couple, but sometimes what you see is prior to that, I don't like the video. I just hit the word edit.
Yeah.
I just hit edit, send, and it keeps on
Yep.
creating a different one. It's almost like you're always going to find one little flaw in them, like a third hand comes in or something, something weird happens. But yeah,
No,
kind of
that's
mess
cool.
with. And you know, I never really used ChatGPT that much. And what I've been doing is saying, "Hey, I'm making a Sora video. Can you give me some ideas?"
Like give me prompts and stuff.
But a lot of them are coming
Yeah,
from
yeah.
me rather than what they're doing.
Yeah, like we released one last week. That was me and Jason sitting around a campfire singing a song about how Brightway's saving people money on home and auto insurance. It's like this ridiculous video, but everybody loved it. We were at our Brightway conference last week, and I think that was like, I got more comments about that than anything else,
Yeah.
you know? And so,
And it's great because, and I think it's important to, you know, pay money for certain videos and stuff, but it's also creating a disruption within the industry because the attention span is about 10 seconds anyway.
Right.
So I think
Correct.
they've really caught that, and it's not costing me a dime except
No.
as much as it, you know, cost me for the app.
no, absolutely. It's a good mix. It's something good, fun. It grabs their attention, and then it hopefully gets them to look at your other stuff too.
Yeah.
Right?
And I've just liked that I've been able to tell a little bit more of my story. Like, hey, I
Yeah.
was in the Army Reserves. You know, just different things that people don't know about me that I've been able to kind of filter in between all the rocket stuff,
No,
which is
absolutely.
kind of cool.
Do people, when you go to an event or something, do people bring it up?
Yeah,
You
people
know,
were
maybe people you don't know. So it is establishing a first contact, realistically, a first contact, and then you get to meet them and go from there. You know what I mean?
I think it's been people that I've known,
Oh, that you know, okay.
or have not seen in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting people like, enough with it. but that feeds me more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That means
Because-
you're grabbing attention because
Believe me,
they're seeing it.
I'm still working. I'm not spending my day doing that.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I love about it is it doesn't take long.
No.
I mean, it's pretty
Steve,
awesome.
I think you do spend your day using Sora.
I mean, I did have a couple days where I was obsessed with it there, but now, like literally, I might just put an idea pop in my head. I'll go run the prompt and then forget about it, and then later in the day, go look at what it had created. You know what I mean?
I mean, do you want to explain what Sora is for anybody who doesn't know?
Sora is like a new app inside ChatGPT. It's like a video creator, so it's like a text to video creation. So you imagine it in your head, and you tell Sora what you're thinking, and Sora runs with it and creates the AI video for you. And you can create like your own AI person, I guess, that is yourself. It like does a scan of your face, and it has you talking to the microphone on your iPhone, and it creates like an AI version of yourself and puts you in the videos if you want.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And so it's a pretty neat tool.
I've liked that. So I read up on like Florida Realtor News and CNBC, and what I do is I'm very good as being a stockbroker all the years is taking that information and trying to find the most important parts. So I've been making these videos where I'm in a newsroom,
Yeah, I saw that.
but it's 10 seconds of data.
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is a great idea.
And it's been much more optimistic recently because actually things have been getting a little better in the marketplace.
Yeah. All right, let's pivot to that, man. What are your thoughts on the market, kind of where it's been over the last 6 months, and where do you think it's headed?
I think we saw a bottoming out about 6 months ago, but it would be from the most unique indicator that you would never think. I'm talking about Florida, the condo market. So what it went was probably about 5 or 6 months ago is the data was not as bad as it had been previously.
Yeah.
Now, A lot of times that's too early to see whether it's a bottom or not. But then that happened for a couple more months.
Yeah.
And then actually, I think it was October, November, and December, there was more closed units of condos and townhomes than there was of single family homes.
Wow.
And the big reason for that is when your market, meaning if you're trying to sell a condo, you see that it's slow for a couple of years, sooner or later, you're going to reset the pricing. And that's what happened. Either new listings hit the market at a much lower price, or all those reductions after 2 years made people say, all right, yeah, there's some risk with assessments and things like that, but the risk is now worth the return because I'm
Yeah,
getting
the
it for a
prices came down.
lower price.
Yeah.
And actually, what's really interesting is recently we've had more pending sales over the last 4 weeks in the country, around 56,000 pending sales compared to 53,000 new listings. So it's been a long time when you've seen more things going pending than actually things hitting the market.
Is that just condos?
No, that's for
everything.
the that's for the that's for
nice.
the whole marketplace.
Wow.
Now again, it's still too early to be seen. I've seen things in the stock market where almost like the movie The Big Short, right?
Yeah.
When he's shorting, he's losing for the first year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So this 5 or 6 month gradual turn that we're starting to do, it's too early to say whether we're back or not.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is it creates a psychology. And I'll give a perfect example. This past weekend when people were complaining how cold it was, I probably had about 5 different open houses going on. And even 2 or 3 people coming to an open house is pretty impressive when everybody's freezing.
Yeah.
So you're getting that trend that things are gradually starting to pick up again.
Yeah, great. And this market has been really resilient. You know what I mean? Like we're in a really good spot here in Brevard County. You know, we got a lot of really good industry that I think is helping the marketplace, bringing jobs here. And I do think that outside looking in, I'm not in the real estate business, but I'm really tied to it because our business really is driven from realtors and mortgage brokers, sending us their clients. And so, we definitely see like an ebb and flow of business, but I will say like over the last few months, we have seen a huge pickup in our referrals. And like, to me, that tells me that the market is, like you're saying, is kind of slowly getting healthy,
Well, I think for your business also, because there wasn't really any storms last year, I think there's going to be a lot of insurance companies probably trying to fight for business, lowering their premiums, right? We've already started to
You're
see that.
100% right.
So there's a lot more conversations that you're able to have. I think every business is based upon being able to have conversations with people that make them think and then maybe decide to do something different.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So let's go back a little bit. So 19 years as a stockbroker. That's a long time, man. Like you were saying, you kind of felt like, the bottom hit and you were starting over, but like those 19 years, how do you think that has shaped who you are today?
I think the biggest things is, it's kind of cliche, but answering your phone, right? Let's put these fires out immediately. Because anybody could pick up the phone and call somebody, hey, I'm a superhero, I did a great job. But that's what probably the biggest thing as a stockbroker. And then also when I first became a stockbroker, I noticed people, women, white, black, Spanish, Russian, it didn't matter what you were. If you had a passion and you sounded good and you were willing to work hard, you could succeed. Yeah. And that opened up my eyes because you're coming from a childhood where I was on welfare. We got evicted all the time. That's why I went to the Army Reserves right out of high school, because I just needed to escape and get away. And then you fast forward within a couple of years, I'm in an office space where you're seeing people driving a lot of nice cars, and you're seeing people that, oh my goodness, look at how successful they are. So, and that's helped me as a realtor, because as a realtor, there is no salary. At least I'm not getting a salary. Most of us realtors are not.
Yeah.
So since 19 to now, I have never had a salary. Yeah. So being able to do that all those years, and the complacency factor, many times over as a stockbroker, even when things were going great, that's usually the time that you get the most complacent. Right before the stock market crashed, that year that it crashed in like the 08 period, we all had our best year in the business the year before. Think about also housing, right? Some people in 2022 as realtors had their best year, but on the flip side, some of the buyers didn't have their best year because they kind of bought at the peak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
That's crazy. 19 years.
You're also in the Army Reserves.
Well, I was
Oh,
a
you
while
were?
ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
while
I
ago.
was
Okay.
a while ago. Yes.
Gotcha. What about your time there? Can you touch on that a little bit?
Well, it was just boot camp right out of high school, and I loved it. I actually loved it. I already knew to respect my elders, but to be told to do this and do that, and by somebody that is not paying you, there's no relation. So that was a great experience. And then after that, I went to Fort Lee, Virginia, to do my what's called training, your reserve training after that. And then I was a weekend warrior, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the year I went away. It was just great. It was a great experience for me. I didn't know why I was going that way, but it definitely helped me.
Yeah. Like from a discipline standpoint, and just probably when you're that young too, man, you don't even realize what you don't know, right? And then you get into the reserves, and you quickly you learn some things quick, I'm sure.
What was one of the most interesting things now that I'm thinking about, it helped me as a stockbroker and it helped me as a realtor, because when you're in New York, you only know people with New York dialect, right? You go away to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, you were people from Kentucky, Tennessee,
Good
everybody.
old boys.
So you have to learn all these different personalities. And I remember people like Nas was my favorite rapper. So I'm like Nas, and I would argue with them. They're like Tupac and Master P, and
No, absolutely.
You can't have Master P after Tupac. Sorry.
no,
No, I know what you're saying.
That's fun.
No, I mean, there's definitely a component in sales where like you got to be able to be a chameleon. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
100%.
And you got to be able to really relate to a lot of different people. We have thousands and thousands of customers, and they are not all the same. You know what I mean? You really have to be able to kind of, I don't know, just you got to be able to relate to everyone. And I think that what you're saying that ties right into
Helped
that.
you a lot.
Yeah.
My dad, who passed, he went by Gene. Everybody has their good things and bad things, but one thing that was great about him is he always seemed to get along with everybody. Everybody seemed to like my dad. And I think the one positive thing I gained from him is I think that's the way I've always been my whole life. I could fit into a group of rowdy people and get along.
Same.
It's the funny thing is when I was a sophomore in high school, my best friend said, you should run for sophomore president. And literally, it was a last minute thing. And I won, right? And it was a very mixed school. So you had white, black, Spanish,
Diverse,
and diverse. And I was in Queens, and I was able to win. And I had to appeal to a lot of different people,
that's awesome.
in order to do that.
No, I mean, it says
Just
a lot.
by being myself.
Yeah. And that says a lot. And that translates to our industries so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that alone translates to sales,
Yeah.
What people don't realize with sales is you're not really selling anything. You're just being yourself, and you get to adapt to each conversation. That's sales,
Yeah. Listening and seeing what their needs are, and seeing what, products you have available to them. And, I feel like this is what you're trying to, accomplish on your end. And this is what I can do for you on my end,
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
for sure.
But I also know I believe as far as being a realtor, there's so many professional people that respond and do everything right. But I really think they want that, I don't want to say killer, but they need that person that knows that will fight for them, right? That will be aggressive when needs to be aggressive. Because if you're nice all the time, nice people don't always win the negotiations. So that's the true aspect, I think, that separates me from a lot of other people,
Yeah, is that negotiating ability? Because I would imagine being a stockbroker, you're doing that every day.
Yeah.
In some shape or form, right?
Yeah.
So you have probably some really good techniques too, from your...
Say less.
Yeah.
Which is still a problem to this. So many people talk themselves out of sales.
yeah.
every day.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it myself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, less is more.
Why didn't you just ask me? You just talked yourself out of it. Yeah.
You've earned some serious recognition, Icon Awards, Top Negotiator, Real Producer Rankings. and you kind of just touched on it a little bit, but what do you think is the real difference? What separates really good agents and high performers to the ones that don't make it in your business? Like, what do you think the number one reason is?
Maybe not acting as if. I'm not saying you need to say affirmations every day that I'm a $1 million producer, but if you can't sell yourself on how, even if you're struggling, right? If you can't sell yourself, then that energy, I think people say I have so much energy, right?
Yeah,
Like the energy I bring into a room. And I think there's a lot, I think that's how we do go through life most of the time.
Yeah.
How many more people have we walked by than spoken to? We've walked by so many more people in life. So you get used to that intuition on that. So I think that's been a big part of it. Responsiveness is pretty easy, but I think the one thing that's lacking is people not even willing to take 30 minutes to an hour to just educate yourself as much as you can locally, like what's going on in Florida. Like when people come into an open house and they start talking about, well, rates are high, I always have an answer. Yeah. I'm not trying to go against them, but I make people think. I become memorable in a way. The Rocket name works, but I have something different to say. You're not going to get a Chat GPT answer from me on a question. And I think that's very important to see things from a different perspective.
Yeah, you're real. Yeah.
And like I said, I think, we're spending in 30 minutes looking at reels and stuff. Take whatever time you're spending doing that and allocate the same time. I tell everybody to download the CNBC app because there's a real estate section in there, and I watch all the videos and I read all the articles. Yep. Every day I look at Florida Realtor news. I mean, just that little bit may help you down the road when somebody says something in a conversation and you pull it out of your Rolodex.
Absolutely.
I have a file in here, right, ready to go. Yeah. I hear a trigger word or something to get it going, not trigger in a bad way, but something to get it going, and I'm in.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like to add what you're saying is like you were saying, take that 30 minutes where you're death scrolling or whatever they call it, and make it and like that's your educational time, whether it's getting up on the latest news in real estate or your profession. But like for me, it's in my car when I'm driving around. I really don't listen to much radio. I listen to music every now and then, but for the most part, I'm playing a podcast when I'm driving around.
Okay.
And so I'm constantly learning. I listen to a lot of insurance podcasts, for example.
Right.
And so like I know a lot about this industry because I listen to so many different podcasts about the industry. It really keeps me relevant and up to date on what's going on and new technology and all that stuff to help us get better in our agency. And so like, for me, that's my moment. That's my time to educate myself. And so like you were saying, I would encourage people to like do it on their time they're already doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of, don't get me wrong, I listen to Rogan and I love the entertainment podcast too, and I listen to those, but throwing something educational about your business while you're driving around, you know what I mean? Use that time to your advantage,
And it becomes a good habit, right? So that now it's a habit of yours. And I think it's important to listen. So, for example, there's a guy by the name of Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff has been big on gold. He actually wrote a book years ago before the stock market crashed called Crash Proof. Yeah. He basically picked that the market was going to crash. So do I take everything he says right now and just follow? No, but it's good to get different things. Silver and gold has been going crazy. If you start listening to Peter Schiff and you learn some things about that, you may come across a customer that starts talking about silver or gold or what should I do? And then you have some input and that could lead to getting more business.
Do you have money in the stock market?
A little bit. I when I got out of it, I got out of it completely. And you only truly learn from mistakes. And my biggest mistake was worrying too much about what happens in the short term. So if I bought a stock at 20 and it went to 30 in 4 or 5 months. Wow, that's a great return. The client's going to make money. I'm going to make a commission. Lo and behold, most of those things went up 1,000% more than that.
Yeah.
So I'm taking that experience of all those mistakes I made in the past, and I'm strategically, when I see good opportunities, I'll invest in them in the stock market.
And you're thinking more long term now when you're doing that?
Yeah, I am. But long term is a problem if you're buying something that's up 80,000%. Now, I'll give you an example. I don't follow the crypto market too much, but I know it's back down in the 70,000s. It's easy to tell people at 100,000 buy crypto. You own it at 5,000. If it goes down to 70,000, you're still up. You're probably going to add to it, but not the people that bought it at 100,000.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's almost like buying houses at the last top, and then it took only maybe around 2020 did some of them get back to break even from buying at the peak before.
Yeah.
Yeah, long term is great if you make money, not long term because I have to hold because I bought extremely high.
Yeah. What year did you get into real estate again?
Late 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the market that was a really great time to be in the business. I mean, it was that the market was rocking and rolling and was really rolling. I was in the mortgage business prior to insurance and was part of the crash in 08, 09 and didn't survive that market in the mortgage business.
Right.
And that's what got me into insurance. And like you were saying in the stock market, that was kind of your stepping stone to be where you're at today. And that's the way I feel about it. Like I wouldn't be in insurance had I not fell flat on my face in mortgages.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
you rose from the ashes just like me.
Exactly.
Did you know somebody locally when you started real estate here, or did you just moved here and said, I want to be a realtor, and then just threw your hat in the ring? And
well, I was behind on my mortgage payments, and as a stockbroker in the beginning, it is like Wolf of Wall Street, and not in the respect that you're doing bad things, but you have boardrooms full of all those people. And so when I moved out here to Florida, it was just me working from my house.
Oh, okay.
And how it happened is somebody in the neighborhood had just passed their test, and my wife was like, hey, he passed his test. And my ridiculous mindset was like, oh, how am I going to do something new? Because the Series 7 test to be a stockbroker is one of the most ridiculous tests you'll ever. It's like 1,000 questions, 500 questions. Jeez. It's crazy. So my mindset was like, oh, I have to learn something new. But then when I went in for the class, I went in physically, I started enjoying it. I was behind on my bills, but I just seen that there's something here that I'm going to be able to take the skills that I've had as a stockbroker and apply that to here. And before I passed my test, I went on 2 appointments. I won't say that I went to one company, great company, been around for a while, but they're like, great, once you pass your test, you're going to be in this training room for the next month. That was a no-go. They lost me right there because that's not how you succeed. Right. You got to get out there and fall and learn. Yeah. And then I went to Remax with Nicole Grammer. It was right by my house, 5 minutes from my house. And even before I passed my test, I was going on interviews. So I was confident I was going to pass. I did.
Yeah,
that's great.
And then I started off with Nicole.
Awesome, man. That's awesome.
With the, what's on the market now with, existing builds compared to new construction, like how are the conflicts? How are you going against those two? So
how am I competing on the resale market?
Like with the new constructions? Like even with negotiation, like how we're, you're talking about, something's on the market now. It's been on the market for how long? 60 days, maybe.
Yeah, it's not updated.
It's not updating.
Older roof.
People are just like going more towards new construction. How can you get a buyer to lean towards something that's already,
price?
Yeah. Price.
Yeah, everybody's price driven. Yeah. And
then how about are they looking at something that they can, renovate? Are they looking for something that they, just is already ready to move in? What are you seeing a lot of?
I think most people would rather have something that's ready to move in. Especially some people, when you come from a different state, they get very scared by Florida's full of floods, hurricanes, and this, that, and the other. They get concerned about all the different elements that can happen to, your AC, oh my God, it's 3 years old. Like, that's not bad. And then you lose. That? No, but
Oh,
So,
okay.
I'm saying-
example.
and you know, so when you get new, your insurance is going to be less for the most part.
Way less.
You know, your all your items have warranties on it.
Yeah.
You know, your appliances have warranties, everything has warranties on it. So I tell people, when you're selling your house, when you figure it's the right time in your life to sell, it doesn't always align with the current market. Same thing with a stock. Let's say you're working for a company, but your stock is vested for 3 years, and that stock goes up 300% over that 3 years. Now you can sell it, and now the stocks come back down. It's just that's just the market that we play in.
Yeah.
I think with trying to compete with new construction, try to find a lender that will pay closing costs, because most of these builders, the bigger ones, they own title, they own the lending. So they're able, even if they're like in the red on it, they're okay
They'll
with
still
that
get it off
business
their
model.
books, right.
Yeah. And so you got to find lenders that, you know, I'm not going to plug anyone.
No,
I'm not trying to do that, but find ones that can do those type of things, that could be competitive with them. Heck, pay a buyer's agent. You could nowadays you can negotiate whatever.
Yeah,
if
'cause-
you're having a hard time selling a house, you can't advertise it on the MLS, but I could reach out to agents and say, hey, this seller is going to pay 10%. Right? You know, like you never know.
Yeah,
So you got to you can't just blame the market for your success or your failures.
Yeah.
And I think
That's a motto right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Should have been
exactly.
there,
you can't blame it. Yeah.
No, that's great.
And one of the biggest things I think is everybody's playing chess when it's really just checkers.
Checkers, yeah.
This game is just really checkers. You know, you spend days trying to figure out what videos of a house, but if your house is $400,000 overpriced, I don't care how nice the video is.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to sell.
There's still some real solid fundamentals in this business that you can't forget about, right? Like
Right.
you know, if it's overpriced, it's overpriced. It ain't going to move no matter what you do.
Yeah, but this is I really love every realtor. Even though we're all competitors, I want everybody to succeed. If any realtors are taking on listings right now, okay, stop living off the comps of 6 or 7 months ago.
I was just about
Start
to ask
to
that.
do your data on what's happening real time.
Yep.
Look at the last couple of months. There's more pending sales in that neighborhood. There's more things showing that there's more buyer demand. And what may happen is you may undersell your client's house. At the same token, if things are getting a little better, that doesn't mean you give it a huge premium. You know, you just find that right sweet spot where everybody is happy.
That's a great point.
And do you do broker opens to kind of get the feedback from other, colleagues and stuff like that?
I've done some broker opens. I think a lot of realtors go to broker opens. They have no business. You know, even I'll walk into a broker open and I may not have a client for that day, but there is certainly through my 8.5 years of working hard, right, in this file here, I may be able to point somebody together. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. If I decided that day to go to a broker's open, maybe a week from now, I'm going to run into somebody that I can match up that house with. So I kind of go by my own compass in my direction. I think there's a better way to do broker opens, and this is what I think you should do. If you have a really good house, you send a special invite to the realtors that are actually doing business in those areas, and only invite them. And you tell them it's exclusive only to you. And see if you can see if you could get that. I'm tinkering with that right
That's
now.
a great
That is
idea.
a great idea.
But
I
there's
feel like.
also a major reason why we have to do them.
Sure.
But for example, if you have a house that has no showings, in a good market, you used to be 10 showings, you get an offer.
Right.
Well, if you have no showings, at least getting 10 to 15 eyeballs of
Eyeballs on it.
realtors in there is better than nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know,
a
you
good
get
point.
some feedback.
Yeah.
And sometimes in broker opens, I've had people just come in because you see the open house signs, and then you get random people off the street. Big thing about open houses to everybody, whether one person comes in or 20 people comes in, it's irrelevant. There's a consistency involved in it. Okay, like I liked this past weekend that even though it was cold, you had a bunch of people coming there.
Still going,
You know, look at people's actions, not their words, and that activity means that people waited for 2 or 3 years. They waited for either, when rates went from 2 to 3 or 4, I'm going to wait for them to come back to 3.
Yeah.
And then it never happened. I'm going to wait for home prices to come down. Well, they did come down a little bit. The smart ones are not going to mess around and just think that, I'm going to wait for them. We're going to crash.
Yeah.
Who benefits from that? Like nobody benefits from that. If you're waiting for a crash, it's going to be pretty bad overall.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and like you said, consistency is what it's all about. Like, I wouldn't look at any open house as a failure. You know what I mean? So, like, if you only got one client or one person walk through the open house that day, you were able to connect with that one person, and you never know where that connection is going to lead next.
Yes, that's true.
You know what I mean?
And people see your open house signs. It's a way to market.
It's
But
marketing,
here's what I'm going to tell a lot of newer agents and everybody. I know we want to do open houses to get buyer leads, but what you need to understand is that most buyers are sellers, meaning they have a house to sell in order to buy. Home prices went up, rates went up, everything is more expensive. So if you're hosting an open house and you're speaking to somebody and they're not really interested in the house, just be very observant of the other people around. Some of those people are future sellers. Yeah. And if they see a realtor there at the open house trying to get them, this one doesn't work for you, let me find you another one, you've lost them. They're out there interviewing people without you even knowing it. Yeah. So just be very careful of that, It's just, and I think it's served me well. My goal when I do any open house is to sell that house or that area. Yeah. And if they're not interested in this house, hey, maybe we can get together in the future, but not at that open house. I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah. And I would say, like, just getting yourself out there, waking up every day and saying, what am I going to do to push my business forward? You know what I mean? You can't sit back waiting for your phone to ring or waiting for it to happen. And so part of that open houses and broker opens and networking events is just being consistent, staying connected and getting out into the community and doing something every day for your business. Otherwise, you're slowly dying. If you ain't growing, you're dying. You know what I mean? That's kind of my mantra. That's the way I look at things.
Yeah, I mean, I think people make rejection out worse than it is. Did you physically get hurt? I mean, like, seriously, I'm afraid to get rejected. Yeah. My friend, you have siblings in the house. If you weren't the favorite, you've been rejected by your family your whole life. Yeah. So we're dealing with that every single day. It's not such a big deal. It's a small price to pay for the amount of money that you can make in sales.
You would crush it in insurance, my friend, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I could just see you just hammering the phones, just following up on leads like crazy.
It is actually my favorite thing. So if you ask me, Eugene, how many deals you have, like, I know what deals I have, but I don't know them by the number. How much money you're going to make? I don't judge that. No. That is the result.
Yeah.
I'm just here. My cause is to help people. It just comes. So I don't I don't count anything done until it's done. That's a big reason for that. Yeah. People are mapping out what they're going to do. Yeah.
Well, if you ever get sick of real estate.
What I like to do is just go in and speak to people in different industries and just give a different angle on, hey, maybe this will work. And again, I don't know all the intricacies of that business. But when people tell me something in their industry and I give them an idea, they're like, wow, okay, maybe I should try that.
It's like a fresh perspective. And I'm telling you, 19 years as a stockbroker, you learn a lot about selling.
And I was a worker. There was it was really cool because one of the videos I made was me as a showing that you saw the AI video where I'm walking in the rain. Mm-hmm. So I need to
see these. I haven't seen them.
So I used to take I used to get up at like 4:30 in the morning from Queens. I would take 3 trains in the morning and then get off the train and walk about 2 miles to the office where I worked as a stockbroker. Many times it was raining. So my video was about that. And then one guy, Mike Tritola, that I used to work with as a stockbroker, he was one of the big guys. He commented, everything that Eugene said was absolutely correct. Nobody could ever work as hard as this guy. And so that was amazing just to see that. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, there's a lot of hard workers in any industry, but I love to hear your fresh perspective on things. When you walked in here, I'm like, man, I saw you at the event. It was cold as can be outside, and you had short sleeves on. You came in today. I was freezing. I got a quarter zip on. He's like, there's a lot of other people out there that are way colder than I am. That's the mentality I have.
Yeah, they're
And I
freezing
just-
in different states right now.
Yeah. You said you didn't even like going out to walk your dog.
It's
but
all
then you're-
perspective.
Correct.
If I said you have to walk into a row of igloos that are below degrees, but at the end of it was $1 million, how many of you wouldn't do that?
Yeah, or get too cold and walk out. Yeah, no, I love good perspective. It's great.
Yeah.
So I know you had a client story you wanted to tell,
Sure.
Sure.
There's several.
and one of the most energetic guy I know is drinking Red
Red
Bull.
Bull, yeah.
I never drink it. I just didn't want any more coffee because I had my first coffee at 4 o'clock this morning.
Oh,
Are you 4 a.m. every day guy?
Today I was because every Wednesday I meet at a BNI, the B-liners over in Merritt Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We used to
Steve,
do that.
Yeah.
Steve,
We-
Scotty used to be in that one. I
Yeah,
think.
we were involved in the BNI group. Is Tim
Yeah.
Har still there?
Tim is still there.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's been an OG of that group.
Yeah, he's been there for 50
There's a lot of
years.
good people. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
Brenda's there too from the Space Shirts.
She's still there?
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
awesome.
wow.
That's where I got this hat from, the shirt.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm
tell
plugging
us,
you, Brenda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you
there
asked
you
some
go.
question. I want to. I haven't seen the front of the hat yet. I'm stuck over here at the end of the table.
That's a fantastic group, though.
Oh,
That is,
it's you,
that is
okay.
one of the better BNI
Nice.
groups around for sure. That's a
Yeah,
great group.
they're
to
a
be
great
in.
one.
Very
And-
tight knit.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
An opening opened up and I got invited to go. And when I went there was 6 other realtors I was competing with. I'm like,
Wow.
holy cow.
Yeah, that's a popular group. That's a
Yeah.
great one. That's
Yeah.
awesome that you
Yes,
got in
Where do
there.
you guys meet at?
We meet at the Veterans Museum on Sykes, right at the end in Merritt
Oh, you
Island.
took
right
our thing because I was profiteers,
Okay.
so they changed their location.
Yeah, BNI was a
They're
big part
hybrid.
of our upbringing in this business. I mean, we definitely.
I don't think I had a choice, but
Well-
I'm glad you gave me that. I'm
I
glad
mean,
you,
yeah. Well, you had a choice, but it's one
I
of those
chose
things.
the right one.
Well, I liked how I started in this business, kind of, for a lack of a better word, hunting. And I paid my dues, and I still will go out there and create business that way. And so then the progression has been, even though I guess I'm an outgoing person, I've always felt a little uncomfortable. Hey, you give me your business, I'll give you your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So that's the next thing. That's a big thing I've been trying to work on, and I'm getting
Yeah.
better at
The
it.
giver's game mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got several different stories. I'll say 2 of them quick, and then one of them may take a little longer. One of them, I literally ended up only making about $500 on. I helped a client buy a home in Cocoa, in an older part of Cocoa. I also had the seller on that one. The seller did a scope of their cast iron before we listed. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was flaking a little bit, but it was okay.
Yeah.
The people moved in. I helped them move in, the elderly people, really nice people. A year later, she's like, my husband's not doing too well. We want to move into a manufactured home. We need to sell the home. Naturally, they just bought it a year ago, and Cocoa's hard to sell. So it was going to be hard to get them that price again. But when a cash buyer came at a pretty good price, they did a scope, and the whole cast iron was messed up. So we credited them some amount of money, and I basically gave back 95% of my commission because, and they didn't ask me to, but I felt like I
You
put
owed
them
it
in
to
that
them.
house. I worked with both of them, and I did that. And you know what? When I do things like that, the phone keeps on ringing. Literally the same day,
Wow.
I'll get new business. Hey, Eugene, we met a while ago. Hey, come meet.
The universe knows.
Yeah, that's
the
awesome.
universe knows.
And then I had another thing. I don't know if we'll edit it or not, but it was a good realtor, Shane Bergman. I had a listing.
yeah.
I had a listing with, and Shane brought the buyer. And it was another situation. Bought the house a year and a half ago. They want to sell. Hard to make any money there.
Yeah.
It's razor thin returns. They had a reverse osmosis system. They paid like $4,500 for it. I forgot at the time of the listing that they said they're taking that with them. So when we went under contract and when they were doing the inspection, Shane's like, oh yeah, the reverse osmosis system, it's staying, right? I'm like, no, the seller's taking it. And I realized I did not put that.
Didn't disclose it.
Yeah, no, I did not. So again, I gave back about 90-something% of my commission, and because I wanted to do the right
awesome,
thing.
man.
Absolutely,
Other people would fight over that, and to the penny, and it just builds relationship equity with me and Shane. He's a heck of a guy, and
Great way to
it
put
just
it.
goes to show that we're brother. Like I don't want him like looking bad. That was my
Yeah.
era.
Right.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and it teaches you, right? When it hits you in the pocket or physically hurts you.
Ain't gonna do that again.
Yeah, and I wasn't told to do that. That's something I made the decision on doing.
Yeah, but I think it's important, man, to carry yourself in that way where like when you're working with Eugene, like you're not, even as a seller and a buyer, like you're more worried about doing the right thing and making sure that the people you're representing in the transaction are taken care of, and that things are done right. You know what I mean? It's not all about dollars and cents. It's like you got to go home and sleep at night too.
But
right?
you also hold yourself accountable, and a lot of people don't do that these days, and that's what makes it even hard in
that's a big deal.
transactional situations.
Yeah, it's important to me to I make a mistake, own up to it,
Own up
move
to
on.
it,
I could go, and then just let it go.
People
Then you can
appreciate
let
you
it
better
go.
more when you do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have morals like that, so it's fresh.
And I
fresh
truly
to hear.
believe the universe is gonna come
reward
back
for sure.
It's been
reward you.
It's been working. Yeah, even when people like will cancel a listing and Eugene, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't get upset about it. They come back to me
Right.
because I handle myself the right way.
Yeah.
But there's one story that is pretty recent. Okay, so I got a call from somebody. He was in Georgia. He's like, I have a house in Suntree. I'm going to be in town for only a couple of days, and then I have to do something medically. He had some health issues. Great, I'll come see you on Saturday. Literally the next day, I get a call that my niece isn't doing well in New York. So I flew to New York. So I extended my trip a little bit. So I called the gentleman, hey, I'm not going to be able to meet you on Saturday, but I'll be back on Sunday. Can we meet then? Literally, when I'm at the airport, on coming back on Sunday, I get a call before the plane takes off. He's like, Eugene, you better be. And, I had this appointment set up prior to seeing my niece in the condition she was in. So when I got there, my whole world was rocked. I did not think about business. And I was literally going to tell the guy, forget about it. But when he said at the plane, hey, Eugene, if you don't come and meet me today, I have to go with the other people. And I could have easily said in this situation, because I was mentally, physically drained and all that, no problem. The flight got delayed, and I called him at the other airport, and a connecting flight, and I said, hey, I'll be there. Literally, it got delayed. I got in Orlando at 7 p.m. at night. I drove straight to his house. I had never been home. I live in Vieira, drove to Suntree. I ended up getting the listing.
Nice.
Right? I ended up getting the listing. And literally within 4 days of being on the market, we had a very solid offer.
That's awesome.
The crazy thing is I then had to go back because my niece passed. She passed.
Sorry to
Sorry to
hear
hear
that.
that, man.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
She passed, but when that night that I came back again, I met them again because they were leaving again. But literally, we got an offer that same night, and it went under contract. So I just think that, I don't know how to explain it in words that well, but I just think it shows that
Dedication, man.
Yeah, 100%.
and it just goes to show that you have conversations in your head all day, right? But if you truly are the type of person that sticks to their word and is hungry, and I cared about these people. When I went to meet him, when I first came back the first time, he had some health issues. They were Canadian, they were foreigners, so there's a whole FERPTER thing. They didn't know anything about that. They needed help. Yeah. And so, and we hit it off very well. Hit it off very well. So I thought that was something showing that I could have easily said, no, look, I'm doing pretty good. I didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But it just picks up. And then I look at all the momentum, and it's those little small decisions that change the trajectory of your trajectory of your business.
No,
I think.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great story. Sorry about your niece, man.
So sorry.
No, that's
tough.
So touching on family, man, what do they mean to your journey?
They mean everything. Like I said, I had 3 sisters, and we didn't have the best childhood. It is what it is. Many people didn't, so I'm not trying to get pity over here. But now that I have my daughters, I look at it like, hey, I'm gonna give them what my sisters didn't have. And my wife she's tough. She's tough like me.
Yeah.
Right. We're similar in the ways that she doesn't work anymore, but when she worked, she would do the job of 10 people. That's just the way I am. Like what I get done compared to 5 or 10 other people. So they're important. I mean, they're everything to me. And girls, one is in dance full time, one is singing theater. Stuff is expensive. So it keeps me going. And I'm so glad that they don't have to go through the journey that I did 5 or 6 years ago. For example, I'm new in the business. I had to drag them to open houses. I would do 2 open houses in a day. Try handling 2 young girls, picking open house signs on the main roads, worrying about the car being locked and leaving them in there for a second and things like that. But if they had to do that now because they're now teenagers, it wouldn't have worked. And even though you don't have a lot of memories when you're young, because they remember their dad always out there hustling and doing open houses,
for sure.
And then they look at where we are now and things like that, they got to learn that from me. And I think that will carry with them.
For sure.
Oh, 100%.
It definitely will.
Yeah.
And they have that ingredient, like that dedication that me and my wife have to certain things. They definitely have that. It's hard to see sometimes because kids will be kids. But when my daughter, when it goes to dance, she'll go 7 days a week. She'll go there for during the summer 12 hours and not complain.
Like dedicating
herself. That's
to
her
it.
second life,
Yeah.
you know. And my same thing with my younger daughter. When she's into singing or theater, she's 100% in. So
Right.
I love it, man. And I've said it before, but like every guest we have on here has a story. You know what I mean? It's something that drives them, and something that, like, deep inside them says, I want to make a better life for me and my family, or whatever it is, right? Like whether it was a difficult childhood or just obstacles in their life they've had to overcome. The one thing I've noticed about all our guests that are very successful is they had some hardship to overcome to drive them to where they are today.
And I'll have more.
Yeah.
Be aware that that's why,
But you're stronger now, so you can, you're capable of handling them a lot better.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And the thing is, you have to be aware of what's going on, right? Like with my niece, the reality check is, here today, and things can change within
it puts it in perspective real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
And so that's why I think I want to make everything I can make right, that I'm capable of doing. Some things I can't make right that happened years ago. You just can't.
Yeah.
But in this moment, anything that's wrong, my conversation with myself is no longer, I need to do this, I need to do that. Yeah. I don't want my last day, me having conversation, I need to do this, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Be like, wow, look at where you've come from, and stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get up and continue to succeed at stuff.
Yeah, man. I say we wrap it up right there, man.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better way to wrap it up.
What a great episode, man.
Awesome.
I could sit and chat with you all day and listen to you talk. Great perspective.
Awesome. That's
Love
awesome. I'm sure I babbled a little bit.
Oh, man, you're
God,
fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, thank you so much for spending the time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Fun.
And honestly, really great getting to know you more, man.
Absolutely.
So this was fantastic. I really appreciate you, and can't wait for this one to release, man. So
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
yeah, man. Thank you. All right.
We shake hands.
Crockett the
Fist bump.
Rugged.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
fist bump.
The Rugged.
We're gonna give you another fist bump.
Awesome,
Thanks,
man.
buddy.
Thank you, guys. Let's get out of here. That's a wrap for this episode of the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We can't thank you enough for being part of our journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend. Until next time, 3, 2, 1, we're out.